Welcome everyone to another episode here at Wolf Watch Club. Again, my name is Gabriel, your community member host. I am sitting here today with one of our active community members, Robert Vittori. Some of you may have seen his blog post on the Wolf Watch Club website. So today we're just going to be learning about Robert, his journey, his collection, what he thinks about Wolf Watch Club. And again, we're just here to have a very casual conversation between collectors and share ideas and share our thoughts on this wonderful hobby that we love. So, Robert, I'm going to give you the floor and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Great. So my name is Rob Vittori. I live here in Connecticut. I've been collecting watches now for about 18, 19 months, but I've always been a watch fan. And while not a true collector, and you might have seen another story about me, I had an uncle who was a watchmaker. And so have always been part of the family, kind of maybe a little different than other people because we always knew, hey, you needed a watch, you went to my uncle.
Hmm.
You didn't buy a
Yeah,
watch on your own. You always went to him.
yeah.
He worked for a couple jewelers in the area. So he always knew about watches. He'd most often give you a watch that, a Seiko or Tissot
Hmm.
or something that he had around that somebody didn't pick up, or he picked up and repaired. And so watches have always been in the blood. And then it was sometime in 2000, early 2024, my wife convinced me and says, I always had some nice watches. I had Tissot, Citizens, and things like that, but good
Yeah.
ones. Not the
Hmm.
not the little, not swatches, not the inexpensive swatches.
Yeah.
But I was buying jewelry for my wife, and she said, "Well, why don't you get something?" So we were in a jewelry store, and I said, "Well, how about a nice dress watch?" And so I picked up a Hamilton. Hamilton. It was on a bracelet, but I put it
Hmm.
on. I put it on a leather strap and turned it into a dress watch. And then my son started collecting watches, and so I was helping him with his collection. Obviously, he's young, not a lot of money, and so but he was buying nice watches, Longines,
Hmm.
Oris, and things like that. And then I said, well, let me start getting into buying some watches. So I started doing some
Yeah.
research, and I built a watch collection over a short period of time, and now I've actually got what I think is a good collection. So now it's going to be about adding a specific piece, or looking for different things, and no rush. I think I have a good collection. My wife always said, when I collected things, I also have a small car collection as well. So that's another
Nice.
thing that I'm into is cars. So I've got a few Mercedes AMGs. I've got a Honda S2000. I was a Honda fan, so for
Oh
years I would
man.
just buy Hondas, SIs. But I have a nice S2000, small collection there. Can't afford those. They're a lot more expensive than watches. But
Yeah.
yeah, I have some nice cars, and that's another thing I like to collect. But yeah, I've built a nice collection. I'm sure you're going to ask me about it, and we'll talk about it. And then the story you saw, I think, on Wolf Watch Club talked a little bit about my experience importing, buying watches overseas. I found that
Yes.
Japan was a nice place to buy watches from. They
Yeah.
were well priced. That before the tariffs, they were, nice to bring in. The import duties were small. But then on my last purchase, which I'm wearing now, is this an Omega GMT. And I thought, I had factored in what I thought was the tariff prices, but then, I found out that no, it's a Swiss watch. You get imposed Swiss tariffs, which are very high right now, and I bought it just at the wrong time. Just when the tariffs got imposed. Um,
So wait, so they charged you a tariff even though the watch came from Japan?
yeah,
Just
so this
because
was
it's Swiss?
Yeah, so this was my misunderstanding on it. So
Okay.
when I bought my first watches from Japan, you would pay $1.50 for the movement. And
Hmm.
that I think I don't know why the
Okay.
movement, which is where you think the most money is going to be,
A
was
dollar
only
fifty.
$1.50 for movements. And
Okay.
then you'd pay 2% on the case, on the
Okay.
value of the case, and then you pay 4% on the value of the bracelet. All right. And so if you're buying
Okay.
stainless steel watches or
Yeah.
like this Omega has a rubber strap, not a lot of
Yeah.
money in a rubber strap. 4% on a rubber strap, maybe valued at $200, is nothing. All
Yeah.
right. But then I figured, okay, now that there's a new tariff program, so maybe I'm going to pay 15% on the whole watch because that's Japan's tariff rate. So I had factored that into the price and found that buying, this is an Omega, this is a 44 millimeter Omega Planet Ocean, um, stainless titanium case, actually, rubber
Wow.
strap. So I thought I'd pay 15% on it, and the prices from Japan were still better than what I could get in the States. All
Hmm.
right. So this watch was, $4,400. In the States, I was looking at it at 5,700. So even with a 15% tariff, it was a better deal. The other thing I found from Japan
Wow.
is Japanese folks really maintain their watches. So they
Hmm.
come in pristine condition. The watch dealers that you find on Chrono 24, like Watchian, this one was, oh, it's escaping me, but I'll send you the information so you can put it in the YouTube
Okay.
video. But yeah, I think it was the name is escaping me now. But
Okay.
they really maintain their watches well, send it to you in perfect condition, box and papers, and so I figured even with 15%, I was going to make out. But when the watch came over, it was getting hit with a 39% tariff because it's where the watch came from, and I thought because it was used, why would
Right.
they do that? But I come to I understand now that you could play this game. Switzerland could ship the watch to someone in Japan,
Hmm.
hold it for a few months, claim it's used, then ship it over. So yeah, it got hit with a 39% tariff. So we'll have to see because I know that courts are striking down the tariffs. So maybe I'll get some of the tariff money back, but lesson learned until the
Maybe.
whole tariff thing in another 6 months gets,
Yeah.
worked out. Can't I can't purchase it there unless it's it's no longer a place where it's going to be good to get watches. So
Wow. So I guess I had the same understanding as you where I thought if it was it doesn't matter if it's if it's not a brand new watch and if it's used,
mhm.
but also more importantly, if I am importing it from somewhere that is uh like if it's not coming from Switzerland itself or like I thought that was only applied to Switzerland. Again, that's sort of where like, there's a lot of confusion
Mhm.
with how it works. And there's a reason why so many content creators now are covering the subject because all we're seeing as consumers, we're getting emails like, "Hey, price hikes are happening on this day. Get your
Mhm.
pre-tariff inventory at the pre-tariff price." Some brands I think Christopher Ward had mentioned recently that they're going to continue to eat the cost of the tariff. Who knows how long that's going to last?
Yeah, they've actually made a change where they're now going to import the watch themselves,
Hmm.
because if they import it as a wholesaler, they can pay less of a tariff. So even though
Okay.
it's coming from Switzerland, they can actually prove that it only costs me X amount of materials, X amount
Hmm.
in making the watch, so they can import it less. They'll still pay a tariff, but then once it's here, they can sell it as a American company that's already paid the
Mm.
tariff. So that's the kind of thing that people are going to have to set up. So, the big
Oh
watch
dear.
brands can do that. So someone like a Rolex or an Omega could,
Yeah.
because they have subsidiaries here that sell, they can import it, pay less of a tariff, then pass along as much or as little as they want and keep the
Yeah.
prices uniform. But yeah, it's a complication I didn't realize when I bought this Omega.
Wow.
And so, now, my latest watch, I just bought a watch this week in New York City. I went to Watchfinder. They have a boutique
Nice.
in New York.
Yep.
And yeah, so I was able to get a Swiss watch, but because it was already here,
Hmm.
they probably bought it from somebody, somebody in the States probably sold it to them. So I was able to get a decent deal without having to pay 39% tariff on it. But it'll be good for people like Watchfinder,
Yeah.
people like the 1916 company, other
Yep.
companies, they'll do well. And I even sold, so this Omega was replacing a 38 millimeter Omega that I bought from Japan
Okay.
earlier in the year. It
Yeah.
was just too small, so I wanted the larger one.
Okay. Yeah.
I had it on wrist for several months and realized, no, that's just too small for me. I like the
Okay.
larger watches, so I'm going against the trend.
Same.
So for us, it'll be good because a lot of people are going to sell their larger watches, and and we'll take advantage of it. Eventually, larger watches will come back, but I really don't care what the trends are.
Yeah.
I like eclectic watches anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I usually wear like between like 40 to 42, sort of my sweet spot. I do
Mhm,
have some watches, like I have a Mito Ocean Star GMT that's at 43-ish
mhm.
around there. But I have like a 7.25 inch wrist, so it doesn't like
Yeah,
if it's fine, you know.
yeah, yeah. My wrist is 7 1/8. So yeah,
Okay,
so
yeah.
I have a 45 millimeter IWC chronograph.
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
that's probably about as big as I'd want. Like I've
Yeah.
tried on the 46 millimeter Omegas; those are too big.
Yeah.
But I've even
Okay.
had I tried on a Rolex this week, the Deep Sea, because
Oh man,
I'm
that
not
thing is massive.
well, but for me it fits, so
Wow.
I don't mind it. So and see, I'm not a Rolex fan because I hate the Cyclops. The way, and it's just a quirk
Okay.
because the way I look at a watch,
Yeah.
I can't see the date in the Cyclops just because of the way I wear it and look at my watch. So the
Ye-
Cyclops annoys me. So most Rolexes I don't like, but a
Okay.
Submariner, the black dial with the older Submariners that have that kind of yellowish brownish hue, I don't like. And so
Okay.
the Deep Sea is the only one I can wear or like, so I could wear it. So I know that if I ever want to get a Rolex, it'll be that one. But I'm also not I'm not a fan of the playing games that the Rolex ADs do. And while the
Right.
watch is very nice and fits and is very comfortable,
Yeah.
there's so many other nice watches that I decided I'm a non-Rolex collector right now. And
So so I have the exact same sentiment. Exactly what you described. Now, don't get me wrong. So I'm actually reading a book currently. It's called The Making of a Status Symbol. It's about
mhm,
it's a there's a guy who's actually based in Japan who did a business case of Rolex. So he actually got,
mhm,
I think he got like exclusive access to like their facilities and stuff like that, some of their archives to basically go through like the history of like the R&D of the Oyster case, Hans Willdorf, the founder, like his history, some of the marketing stuff. It's super fascinating. The reason I bought it was to kind of gain more of an appreciation because obviously Rolex, like they make incredible watches.
mhm, absolutely.
But where the problem is for me, which you touched on, was the fact that if I have the money to buy a Rolex and I walk into a boutique, they have no they have no reason really to sell to me if they don't want to. Or there's a huge
Yes.
wait list that's like 3 years long, and I'm like, look, guys, I can go to the Omega boutique next door. I could go to Panerai, or I can go to wherever, and I can walk
Mhm,
in and I can say, "Hey, I want a Speedmaster, or I want a Luminor on a metal bracelet, or whatever the case is," and I can buy it that day.
yes.
So,
Yeah, that's what annoys me about Rolex. And I understand what they did. The same thing like
right,
De Beers did with diamonds starting in the 1900s.
yeah,
They made diamonds, you have to have a diamond engagement ring. All right. That was not a thing before De Beers came along, but
yeah,
they have developed that mystique around diamonds, and it's
yes,
made them a lot of money. Rolex has done the same thing with their watches. And when you talk about luxury brands, nobody needs luxury. You pay a
right,
premium for luxury, and it's all about the mystique they create.
yeah,
Cartier. I love Cartier watches, but the whole brand, Bulgari, all these fashion brands, you
yeah,
can buy the same clothing or clothing that's just as good, looks just as good for much cheaper, but
yeah,
it's that mystique, it's that luxury. Hey, we're lucky we're in a world where many people can get luxury at any level they want.
yes, that's
Uh,
true.
and it's just what they, it's just the marketing. Um,
Yeah.
we're lucky that we can participate in it, but do you need it? And
No,
so I don't
just
need Rolex. There's so many beautiful watches out there
yeah,
that I don't want to play that game, and I don't need to play the game. And
yeah,
someday if a Rolex comes across where I can find it and it's the right price for me,
yeah.
I may get one. But yeah, and the Cyclops cements it for me. I don't
Okay.
like the
Hey,
Cyclops, and 90% of their watches have that Cyclops. So
I totally get it where even especially like at a certain angle, the Cyclops, since it's, it rises off the crystal just
mhm.
that little bit, you're like, oh shoot, I can't really actually see the date from this time. Let me actually like fully put it
Yeah,
right
you got to put it
directly.
right in front of you. Yeah, and I don't like doing that. So
Hey,
yeah, so I didn't like the Cyclops.
I totally get it. But and for those in the audience who, may be like, oh, it's the same reasoning, like, oh, the games that they play and Rolex and all that stuff. Hey, we still both agree that there's a reason why they are like the most desirable
Hmm.
watch brand out there, and still to this day. Like they've been in
Oh
business
yeah,
for over 100 years, and there's a reason why that logo is so well known, and the brand
mhm,
recognition is immediate. Even someone who knows nothing about watches knows the Rolex crown.
absolutely. Yep.
So one day, but I like also your philosophy, because I was reading too that you like buying used, and I also,
Oh yeah.
if there's a watch that I want, and if I can save a little. So actually, so for example, I recently bought my first Omega. It's an Omega DeVille Prestige,
Oh, nice.
blue dial, super dressy. I bought it for my wedding because I'm
Hmm.
getting married in a week now, actually today.
Oh,
And
congratulations.
thanks. And it was like the perfect watch. I saw it and I was like, oh my God, like this is actually like super classy, so nice. And I bought it from a dealer that's near me in New York. It was used, like it was basically like I don't know what the story was with it exactly. I know it came from Chicago, a jeweler over there, and it still had all the tags on it.
Hmm.
And this watch retails for like I think now like 5,200, maybe a little bit more
Hmm.
than that. It's on a metal bracelet and everything. It's like one of the quote unquote entry level Omegas, but I loved it so much that I was like, but I got it for significantly less. And because since I was ordering it from out of state, because I'm in Jersey, I also didn't
Hmm.
have to pay
You
sales
didn't have to
tax
pay the
on it.
tax. Yeah, that's nice.
So I was like, I mean, it's like it was a 24 model, had all the tags on it. It was basically in like 99% like condition. It was basically mint condition. But
Hmm.
I was getting a substantial discount on it. So I was like, I'm just gonna like if it and this was also around the time where they were talking about tariffs, right? So I was like,
Hmm.
you know, I don't know if maybe they were going to potentially be like justify a price increase because it's a Swiss watch, and it's like, oh, but it's already there. It's already used. Came from Chicago, now it came to Jersey, now it's over here. So, yeah, I also jumped on that opportunity because I was like, I want this watch. I'm not gonna pay the five and a half grand for it after tax, and I got a steal, and it's a beautiful watch. And so like now I'm like looking, I'm like, okay, if I can find a Cartier or a Panerai, because one of those is probably gonna be the next watch I buy, next big watch.
Hmm.
Um, there's a lot of good used examples on Chrono 24, eBay, whatever the case is.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I found that. Yeah, I found used watches is the best value because as long as you get one that's in good shape, check the pictures, make sure it's very
mhm.
good to excellent condition. It's just fine. And if it's got a strap and it's a little worn, straps a
Can
couple
switch it
hundred
out.
dollars for a good strap, just switch it out.
Yeah.
That's definitely the way. And that's I have some used cars I bought. My S2000 is used. I have a SLK 55 AMG. I bought that
Oh
used.
man.
Uh, and I bought a couple new watches. My wife's Cartier is new, and I bought a Panerai new. But now it's like I'm happy with just used. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a new Mercedes that I bought. Now I'm going to keep it 10 years. I keep my cars for a long time. So I'll keep
Nice.
it 10 years. I did buy a new AMG last year. That 10 years after my other one. I saw and
Nice. Wow.
and the other one I sold to my son. So kept it in the family. So yeah,
Nice.
if you got to be selective. It's nice to get the new experience, to buy a new
Yeah.
watch and get that boutique experience once.
Right.
But after that, it's like I'm fine.
Yeah.
And then I can still get the boutique experience because, for watches that have straps, I'll go to the boutique.
Yeah.
I've got a JLC I just bought. Straps in
Oh,
great shape, but
wow.
next year, a year from now, I'll just go down to the boutique and I'll pay retail for a strap, or I'll try to negotiate with them and
Yeah.
see, and then I'll get a strap and still have the boutique experience trying the watches, and they're
Yeah.
usually pretty good. You wear their brand in, they're usually pretty good about
Yeah,
about
exactly. Yeah.
treating you well.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, look, when I got that Omega, I had to obviously get it sized. I tried
hmm
sizing it myself and I got a little nervous. I was like, okay, the pin's not coming out the way I expected it to. Let me just go to my local boutique. Went in, I was like, hey, I got this watch, secondhand,
hmm
just need it sized. And the guy was super cool. I felt super welcome and that was like my first like actual like boutique experience where I went there to have some type of like had a service provided to me
hmm
because other times I've been just to kind of just look
yep.
nothing crazy, but that I came out of that experience I was just like, okay, now as someone who, even though I bought an Omega used, to me it's new to me, um now that I know what the boutique is like actually like walking in as a customer, now I'm like, okay, so if I ever do want to get like a Speedmaster or whatever the case is, or
hmm
Planet Ocean or Aquaterra, then I'm gonna go to this boutique because they treated me so well, even though I didn't buy the watch from them. And
hmm
that to me is what it's all about. I know some people go to ADs for particular brands and people kind of like turn their nose up at them and they're kind of like, the way that they're dressed, or they have a very inexpensive watch that to them is inexpensive or whatever the case is, and they kind of like blow them off or just are rude or whatever the case is. I'm sure it doesn't happen very often, but you do hear sometimes those stories of like people like they had a horror
Oh yeah,
experience at an
yep.
AD.
I
Um,
I I can imagine.
it's just
Well, I've had that experience going into a Rolex dealership. It's
yeah,
like no attention, paid no attention at all
yeah,
to me, and I'm like, I can afford these.
yeah,
You should
exactly.
treat
It's
me a little
like
bit. How do they know without even talking to you whether you're a
right.
serious person or not? Yeah, I don't like that experience that I've had at Rolex ADs just going in and looking at watches. Now, there've been a couple that have been good,
Yeah,
but then I've had that experience you hear about
yeah,
where they don't even
exactly.
want to. They must have a great customer base or a long waiting list, so they don't need to.
No,
They're just open because they need to be. But I don't understand that. But
exactly. Yeah.
Now,
Um,
you talked about sizing watches. So I bought some toolkits. I can do
the
my own
tools.
sizing and all that.
Yeah.
But like for my wife's Cartier, when we bought that needed sized, I brought that to. We went to a jeweler. I wasn't going to touch that because that's a really nice watch. But for the inexpensive watches, the Citizens, the Seikos I have, I'll do that myself. Uh,
Yeah, exactly.
I'll replace batteries for all my friends. So if you need a
Nice.
battery in a watch, I'll do that.
I just started like recently because I've also been really into going to vintage shops and buying
hmm
just like they're not like cool like super great watches, but like
hmm
I picked up like this really cool like $8 just a quartz Japanese watch. It says
hmm
Wrangler on it, like the jean company
Yeah.
on it. So it's like, it's just like a cheapy watch that they made, but it's
hmm
actually it's really nice. It's like a very outdoorsy type of watch. So it's just something very casual to wear where like if I just need to go out and not have to
You
worry about
you
what's on
need
my
some be
wrist.
you need some beaters in your collection just because I'm going to go work on the car. I need a watch on, but I'm not
Yeah.
going to. It'll be an old Seiko I picked up at a tag sale, and those are
Yeah.
great watches to work on to get used to how to handle the pins and popping the case back open. Screw
Yeah.
down cases are easy, but it's I have a guest watch that my daughter had that a friend
Hmm.
gave her. So a little
Yeah.
fashion watch, it's made by Timex.
Yeah.
Um, I can't get the case back open. I have scratched the back of the case back. I'm actually going to this weekend take it to a jeweler and say, okay,
Okay.
is it
Yeah.
me? Can you open the back? back of this
Yeah.
case. But it's good to practice on that before I, get something vintage that I bought that's an Omega with a pressed on case back.
Yeah.
I've got the tools, but I obviously don't know how to use them. But so going to tag sales, picking up some of these old watches and practicing on
Yeah.
those, inexpensive, so that when I want to work on or do something on my own watches.
Literally this watch just needed a battery and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't and so I was like, shoot, I don't really want to go out and like find a jeweler right now who like is open because sometimes jewelers around me, the ones that do like watch battery replacements are weird with like their hours and I'm like dang, I don't have anything that's flat enough to like pop it open. So I used a pizza cutter and it just went
Yep. Oh, that's good.
and
Yep.
I was like, okay, cool, here's a new battery and now it
I
works. I was like, okay, great.
I had the Bergeron watch, case opening tool, and
Yeah.
scratched up the
Uh,
back of this case. I mean, it's no big deal. No one's going to look at the back of this one. It's a
right.
closed case
Yeah.
back. But I was like, okay. So then I went on YouTube, looked at a bunch of it. Oh, that's how you put the plastic on. So I avoid that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
always learning. Yeah. I built one of my watches. I wanted to mention that. So
So
and
yeah, so
something
I
for Wolf Watch Club to get into
yeah.
might be, something like do it. So if you've ever seen them online, Do It Yourself Watch Club. It's a guy in Hong
Yes.
Kong in these cases. So
Yes.
I built a big pilot watch. I got
Oh,
the
that's
kit,
cool.
made it myself, and I love
Okay.
it. I can't. I think now that I have a good watch collection, I think the next part of my collecting journey will be building a few watches
That's cool. And it and
from
was
them.
that quartz automatic? Like
It's
and how
automatic. It
difficult was it to put it
it
together?
it was not difficult.
Okay.
They give you they have YouTube videos that
Okay.
will instruct you on how to do it. I
Yeah.
needed to have the time. I got the toolkit from them. I also have a Bergeron, watch repair kit for enthusiasts that so you can do your own batteries, do your own, some
Yeah.
maintenance on your own watch.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, no, it turned out to be very easy. The hands can be very difficult, especially the
Yes.
second hand.
Okay. Yeah.
12 attempts I counted, and then on the 12th
Oh,
one it just
geez.
landed in the position right. And I
And you were
stamped
like,
it down with the tool. I was like, okay. But I was, and I'm not I don't have a lot of patience, so I knew I had to be patient. And I knew,
okay.
I made sure I had a good night's sleep when I was building
Yeah.
the watch. And
Yeah.
but yeah, I had a blast. So I can't wait
Oh
to
my
do another
God.
one. As a matter of fact, they have a watch that looks like a Batman, a Rolex Batman,
Oh, okay,
and
cool.
no Cyclops. And
Oh,
so
you were like,
that's the next one
yes.
I'm going to buy. Well, that's the next one I'm going to buy. I'm looking for. I actually have it on my Christmas list. I'm hoping my wife or my son
Oh,
will
okay.
see
There you
that
go. Smart.
and and
Smart.
and get that. And that's the next one I want to buy. Um, and yeah, and and from a distance,
Yeah.
people aren't going to know. If you're across the
Right.
room, you're going to be, oh, he's got the Batman, the bracelet. They, it's an homage. They don't make any claim to be, trying
Right.
to fake it, but
Yeah.
it'll look like a Batman from across the room. And
But if someone does get close enough to identify, okay, it's not a Rolex, but they still comment on it, now you have a story of like, hey, guess
mhm,
what? Yes, it's not a Batman,
yeah,
but I actually put this together myself. And then you
yeah,
can tell them the whole story of like, hey, there's a company that has these kits. If you're into watches or, if you want to learn and start tinkering with watches, like it's a great kit. And it's like a good it's just a good like casual watch to have that you don't have to worry too much about it and you got that whole experience of putting it together too so
yeah. So
um
yeah, I wanted to mention that because I wanted to get that to the Wolf Watch Club folks, and at some point I'll put it out on the forums there.
yeah.
But yeah, because hey, why wouldn't they rebrand one? We'll have the little Wolf Watch Club symbol on a watch that you
Oh,
put together
okay.
yourself. Might be a good
Official
thing for the
Wolf Watch
club.
Club watch. Okay, all right,
Yeah.
Mark, if you're watching,
Yeah,
let's
Mark. Yeah, Mark. I know. So I know Mark's into the Rolexes because too many
yeah.
Rolexes. I haven't bought a lot of tickets for him, but the Explorer one I did because of course no Cyclops. But
Yeah, yeah, Explorer's a great watch though. I mean,
yeah, but
that's definitely one of my more favorite Rolex designs. Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, like so I didn't jump in on the Wimbledon. I was like no Cyclops there, and Not for me. The
Oh
Breitling,
my
the
God.
Breitling, I'll wait to the. I think I want to wait to the end. I think people are buying
Okay.
tickets later, winning.
Yeah.
I know it's random,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
It's like the psychology of lotto. Lotto prizes go up; they're really high, and
Then everyone
then
starts
people
jumping
buy.
on.
They start
Yeah.
jumping in. Same
Yeah.
thing with same thing like the Breitling's nice, because you get to
Yeah.
pick the
It
color,
is.
but he doesn't have the mint one there, Mark.
The mint. Oh
You
yeah.
know,
There's
have
like
you seen the mint green that they have?
yes, but
Because
is that the new
that's the new
because they
one.
just
Yeah,
came
it's
out
not
of
the same. Yeah, it's
okay.
not the same one, but yeah, the mint one I would have jumped in already because I think my
Yeah.
wife would like the mint one. So that mint's
Ah,
not
okay.
a color for me, but the wife would love the
Okay.
mint one. You know, so
Yeah. So tell me about your current collection. So I know you mentioned you just got
mhm.
well you just got another you just purchased an Omega, right?
Well, I upgraded my Omega. So
You
I had an
upgraded it. That's what
Omega
it was.
Planet Ocean 38
38.
millimeter. And then what I needed, so then it was too small. So then
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Planet Oceans and the 44 millimeters. I went to try them on in the shop and they have GMTs and I was missing a GMT. So I sold my 38 millimeter Omega Planet Ocean. I sold it
Yeah.
to Watchfinder. All right.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Watchfinder, if for people who don't know, is actually owned by Richemont. So Richemont owns
Oh, I didn't
Cartier,
know that.
Panerai, IWC, JLC, and some other brands. They
Yeah.
own Van Cleef and Arpels as
Yep.
well and
Yep.
PJ. So I sold. I asked for a price, and they were giving me more than I paid for. And that's just when the Swiss tariffs hit. So I said, okay,
Nice.
they're building up their inventory, so they're willing to
Yes.
pay. And the watch was in perfect condition.
Yeah.
So I sold the watch, and then I went out and I found the Japanese GMT, so and I bought it from there. Though, so I could have got it for about $200 cheaper had I just bought it from Watchfinder. They had the
Hmm.
same one, but I thought I was going to get a deal.
Yeah.
So I upgraded, and that's the Planet Ocean I have here.
Beautiful.
I can send you a picture of a wrist shot on it. But then so next thing on my list was I needed a gold dress watch. I'm
Okay.
semi-retired. I wanted a gold watch.
Yeah.
And I had a lot that I was looking at, Vacherons and JLCs and IWCs that I
Hmm.
liked. And Cartier, I actually thought I would be a Cartier Drive. So Cartier Drive is a
Ooh,
neat watch.
okay.
It's not
Yeah.
round. It's not photo
No.
case. It's got its own shape.
And it
And so
also
that's
has a bit of it has a Cyclops on it too. It has sort of that magnified, right? Or do
Nope,
not all the models have it? I thought, okay.
Cartier's no Cyclops on. I
Oh,
haven't seen a Cartier with Cyclops. So Cartier Santos would have been a good watch as well. I like those.
yeah.
But yeah, the Cartier Drive was. I said, oh, that's kind of unique. It's got the cart. You know, you immediately know it's Cartier. You know, it's
Yeah.
got the racetrack and the Roman numerals and
Yeah.
the sword hands that they're not sword hand, but the Cartier hands,
Yeah.
and blued hands, and yeah, beautiful. And there's a number of different ones, and it's discontinued too, so it's kind of
Yes.
unique. So I thought it was going to be that, but so last Monday I decided I don't have a moon swatch. And I had this Snoopy moon swatch, and I'm like, my daughter and my wife love Snoopy. So
Yeah.
my wife has her she has a Snoopy face on her Apple Watch. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
And so she loves Snoopy. So they had this Snoopy watch, and I'm like, well, I'm off on Monday. I'll go into the city and
Oh
I'll see if
my.
I can get a moon swatch. I'm not, if the line is miles long, I wasn't going to go that early. I wasn't going to sleep out for it, but
Right.
I don't have a moon swatch. Let me go see what this is all about.
Yeah.
And I actually ended up going into the city, and I didn't go to the Times Square store. Well, actually, I don't want to even say where the store is. Well, people know it's in New York; they're going to figure it out. In Soho, they have a store
Okay.
that has the watches when
Yeah.
the moon swatches come out. So I went in. I
Yeah.
was 30th in line. So I waited for 2.5 hours. I got a
Yeah.
moon swatch. I got the little Snoopy moon swatch. So then I'm in
Wow.
Soho, and Watchfinder, just a block away,
Yeah.
has a store. Well, it was turns out it was their grand reopening. All right.
Oh,
And I
okay.
highly recommend people, if you want to try on watches and
Go
be
there.
able to compare and contrast all of the
Yeah.
brands, IWC, Panerai, Cartier,
Yeah.
Rolex, Patek,
Yeah.
Vacheron, Breitlings, they're all there in the store. It was a grand
Okay.
reopening. So I went over there. So I'm carrying my little Swatch bag, and I go in and I'm like, well, hey, I want to look at, any of the gold watches from any of these brands. So I'm looking
Yeah.
around. It was a grand reopening. So they were loaded with salespeople. So I met a guy, Ray, there. I highly recommend him if people hear this and want to go. But so
Yeah.
I was trying on all of the watches. I didn't try on Pateks because I'm not, Pateks are beautiful, but
Mm.
nothing that really struck me. But I'm trying on the Cartier Drive. I'm trying on different Cartier Santos. They had a
Yeah.
beautiful Cartier Santos with the green dial gold watch.
Yes.
But then they
Yeah.
had a JLC gold, pink gold geophysic. So for geophysic
Okay.
is a watch that was only around for 7 or 8 years, I think.
Okay.
They made them in the 50s. They came
Yeah.
out in the 2010s. They came out with some new models. And what's
Hmm.
neat about the geophysics, so with a dress watch, you want one that's just time, maybe date. You know,
Right.
I have to have a second hand though if it's Cartier, but the Drive has a second hand. But you
Hmm.
want something simple. But what's neat about the geophysic is it has a complication that's rare, a true second. So it's an automatic watch,
Hmm.
but it beats like a quartz, 1 hertz. So the watch is 4 hertz inside. When you look at the
Interesting.
movement, it's beautiful, but it ticks like a quartz. Well, actually, the 1 second complication came out long before quartz, but
Yeah.
it's a unique complication because the watch it's dead second. And sometimes they'll hear it called true second, or well, they call it true second, but sometimes you hear it called dead second. So it looks
Okay.
like it's a
Yes.
quart watch, but it's not. It's got a beautiful movement. We were able to negotiate a good deal. Came just over the price limit I wanted. I had the boutique experience there. So I
Yeah.
actually ended up going in the city for a swatch, a moon swatch, and came away with 2 watches. And so now
Wow. Okay.
and that was the only thing missing from my collection was a
Yeah.
high horology dress watch, or
Yeah.
higher horology. And I have a Hamilton dress watch, which
Yeah.
is still nice. I wore that yesterday, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
I try to match my outfit to my watch, and
Yep. Same.
this dress watch is not going to come out of the safe very often, but it's true second.
Yeah.
I'll send you a couple of wrist shots of it. But what's
Great.
neat is I've got a dress watch now that I wanted, but
Yeah.
I can say it's got a complication that's rare, and it's a
Yeah.
true second complication, and so it was perfect for me. And I've always wanted to have a JLC. I
Yeah.
now eventually when I truly retire, I'm gonna want to get a Vacheron gold watch, but
Ah.
that'll be much
Okay.
later. Those are much more
Okay.
expensive, but that's kind of what I want. Also a Vacheron GMT because I love the Vacheron Overseas white
Yes.
dial stainless steel GMT. That's another one that's on my list of if a deal comes across and I have
Yeah.
I'm not that rich that I can just buy a watch at any time. But I was looking for saying I told my wife I'm semi-retired,
Yeah.
and I want to get that gold watch. Now,
Yeah.
so I'm an older guy. I'm 62. So for me, that gold dress watch was always something I heard from the time I was a little kid. Yeah, you retire, you get a gold dress watch.
Right.
So
Yeah.
for me, it means something. It probably doesn't mean anything to younger folks, but if you're in your 40s, 50s, maybe it means something. If you're in your 60s,
Hmm.
it means something to you.
Yeah.
So I got that watch. Another great watch, Polaris Geographic, because that's got that and the Vacheron GMT
Yeah.
are basically running the same movement.
Okay. Wow.
GLC used to make the movements for the overseas GMTs and for the
Okay.
Vacheron GMTs, and they might still do that.
Yeah.
It's all one big company underneath Richemont. But
Wow.
anyway, so that's so I went in for a swatch, and I came away with the JLT and the
Yeah.
moon swatch. So the moon
Yeah.
swatch is just kind of a fun thing. It's got the moon phase and it's got the earth phase, which that's a nice complication.
Yeah. No,
I
it's
know Swatch is the only one I know that does it, but I could see
yeah.
JLC or Vacheron or some of these guys saying, "Hey, we have the Earth phase. What does that mean? It means this is what if you were on the moon, and maybe
Yeah.
someday people will be, and you're
Yeah.
looking. This is what the Earth looks like." And
Yeah.
as it turns around, I did some research. As it turns out, the moon phase and the Earth phase are exact opposite.
Right.
So if it's
Okay.
full moon here, it's new
Yep.
Earth on the moon. If it's
Okay.
new
Yeah.
moon here, it's full Earth if you're sitting on
Oh,
the moon.
wow. Okay.
So it's kind of neat. So that was the neat thing about the swatch. You get the Earth phase. It's a
Yeah.
little. They call it bioceramic. Feels like plastic, but I know it's not.
Yes, it
It's more
does.
durable, but boy, it feels like plastic. But so now it's going to be just adding quirky things like that. So my
Yeah.
collection now has a moon face
So
or
I,
a moon swatch.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I, last year when I went to Wind Up Watch Fair
Mm-hmm.
in New York, they have it every October. I'm going to be there in a few weeks as well, for this year. And on my way home from Wind Up Watch Fair, I didn't buy anything at the fair, and I don't know, maybe it was that. And then I happened to be, so I had to go through World Trade to get home. And at in World Trade Center, there is a Swatch store.
Yeah.
And as I was walking by, I saw that the Swatch store was totally dead. Like this Sunday afternoon at like 3 or 4 p.m. after I'd left the watch fair. And I was like, all right, you know what? There's no one there. Let me go in and finally look at the moon swatch. And I asked the guy, he was like, they're in the case over here, and I saw all the different colors, and the one that stuck out to me was the Mission to Mercury. It's like a dark gray case with the
Mm-hmm.
black dial. So it almost kind of resembles like the Speedmaster Dark Side of the Moon.
Mm-hmm.
Like that got that very cool stealth look to it, basically, because
Yeah.
dark gray case, black dial. And I put it on, and I was like, I had like a when in Rome kind of moment, like,
Yeah.
when at the Swatch store in New York City.
Yeah.
I just bought it, and then it's on, and then like most people do, they switch out the strap because the strap it comes on, it's okay. I wore it for a few weeks and I didn't mind it, but I did eventually replace it with like a matching, I forget exactly who I bought it from, but it was basically fully color matched to the watch.
Mm-hmm.
A rubber, like a sporty strap that's kind of have like the holes in it. It's almost kind of like a racing strap type
Yeah.
thing, but it's rubber. And that's yeah, it's been a great watch. I wear it when I just need to be really casual, or sometimes when I'm out filming for work. If I just want something that, and so like yesterday, I was just at a dealership near me in Pennsylvania to film some stuff. Um, and I just needed something that looked good, but also was just very casual in case I bump it into something or whatever the case is. I don't have to worry about it. So I just wore that. Um, yeah, Moonswatch is a great watch. I know a lot of
Yeah.
people had a lot of opinions about it at the beginning, and I can see both sides, you know, but it really is just the Speedmaster design made accessible to a broader audience.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back on it now, I think again, this may be controversial, but I think it was actually a kind of a cool concept.
Yeah,
Um,
it's something
that's just
different,
me.
and it'll bring more people into watches. By the way, the strap is better on the new ones. So they have a new strap for the last two issues.
They now
It's a little
have that
Velcro
more.
strap. I
Yes.
found it was like I this is good enough for now, and then maybe I'll throw it on a NATO at some point. It
Yeah.
might look good on a NATO. I'll have to see. But I just got it, and only I haven't even worn it out yet because I was waiting to show my wife and my daughter. My kids don't live here anymore, so my daughter was here yesterday. I showed it to her.
Okay.
She didn't seem like she wanted to take it, so I'll wear it.
Oh boy. So also I wanted to ask you about there's a particular watch, at least I saw a wrist shot of it on the
Mm-hmm.
under your story. And it's a watch I almost bought where was it? I was in Aruba, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think you might start to wonder know exactly which watch I'm talking about because you can only get it in the Caribbean as far as I know.
Yep.
It is
Yep.
a
Two
I
jewelers.
yeah, Little Switzerland is one of them, and I forget, I'm sure there's probably
Oh,
another
do they
one.
have it at Little Switzerland now? Because
I
originally it was just K Jewelers and Majesty Jewelers in St. Martin,
okay.
But K Jewelers also has a Aruba store, and they have some other stores. K
Yeah.
Jewelers is my wife and I have done a lot of business with those guys. But yeah, the Citizen Bryson, with the
Yeah.
dial. Yeah. So that's most people don't realize it's a Citizen Bryson, which is a great.
Yes.
It's a great inexpensive watch, solar
Yep.
drive. But yeah, that dial is just beautiful. My wife
Yeah.
got that for me. She surprised me with that for my birthday this past year.
Yeah.
So she saw it and ordered it. Yeah.
I love the dial. So originally, I grew up in Rhode Island, so
Mm-hmm.
right next to you over there in Connecticut. But I originally am from the Caribbean. I'm from Puerto Rico, and so when I saw that watch and I saw that it had all the main islands in the Caribbean and it had that beautiful blue dial,
Mm-hmm.
I should have bought one. I didn't buy one because at the time I was just kind of like, you know. It's like for me, it was almost like a it's kind of like like more of like a summary watch, of course. So I'm like, okay, if I
Mm-hmm.
buy it, yes, I'll wear it during the summer, but then will I really end up wearing it more than that? So for me, it was just kind of like, maybe if it's still around somewhere, next time
Well,
I'm down there in the Caribbean or
I,
something, if I do see it,
so
I'll buy it.
yesterday, K Jewelers, they still have them. They'll ship it to
Yeah.
you,
Okay.
just to let you know. And then go. So next time you're at a Citizen store, try on the
Yeah.
Bryson
Yeah.
titanium because it'll
Okay.
feel exactly the same. And it is so light. So I took it anytime I went swimming this year. I was wearing that watch. I
Yeah.
took it on a Caribbean cruise. I didn't take it off, into the ocean, out of the ocean, because it's titanium, 100-meter water resistant. That Citizen Bryson, I am just amazed at that watch. One of the
Yeah.
watches I'd like to get is the Citizen Zenshen, which is a little different style case, but that's probably exactly the same watch internally and the same lightness. But yeah, so and this one's titanium too. I love
Yeah.
titanium, very light, very nice watches. But
Yeah.
you'd like it if you got it.
Yeah,
For sure.
I tried on actually the titanium Zenshin the other day. I was
Mm-hmm.
at Macy's and I mentioned this during my interview with Mark Martin. I just bought the Seiko Speed Timer Panda.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's nice too.
and when I was at Macy's, I tried on that and then I tried on the titanium Zenshin, same thing, Panda dial.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the feeling of the Seiko more, and I think I loved just the look of it just a little
Mm-hmm.
bit more. But the Zenshin, the titanium, it's unreal how light that watch is. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that after an hour, you probably forget that it's even on your wrist.
Yeah.
And I used to own and I regret selling it. I sold it just because at the time I was like, you know what, I needed some extra cash because I think similar to how you had mentioned all the way at the top, I had a position at a job and then they just decided we don't need the position anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
so, then I was out of work for a bit and I was like, you know what, let me just get some cash and just sell off one of these watches. It was a titanium Hamilton khaki field.
Oh,
Um,
I didn't know the khaki field came in titanium too. I didn't know that.
So
Yeah.
so they make them in titanium, but this one was a black dial titanium, which now they only make the titanium I think in blue and green, and they have the
Mm-hmm.
black dial just in regular stainless steel. This was a full titanium one with the black dial that I bought from a jeweler back in like 2022 or something like that. And I got used to the feeling of titanium. That's the thing. A lot of people say it feels really cheap. Um, honestly, it's just super like, especially if it's like a good piece like the Zenshin or the Khaki Field. It's just such a great, convenient watch because it's like you throw it on, you don't really notice that it's there, and it's just so
Mm-hmm.
comfortable. But again, I get the argument where people are just kind of like it feels like almost like a toy or it almost feels like like the weight and like the feel of like a $25 Casio like in
Yes.
it's like
Yeah, it does that initially I was like, why is this so light? And then it's like, oh yeah, it's titanium. Once you understand it, it doesn't bother me anymore. But when I first got it, I was like, oh, people are gonna think this is a cheap watch, but wait, they're
yeah,
not gonna only I know it's light. They're not gonna know it's light.
right.
But
Yeah.
I like that stainless steel is beautiful, but this has that just I don't want to call it dark gray, but just that,
It has a
You know when
nice
you're
shadowy color
working on
to it.
Excel and you're trying to change the background and you go just that one step gray just so
Yeah.
you can highlight an area.
Yeah.
It's that difference and it's just beautiful. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you noticed that watch. Well,
No,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's one of my
yeah.
favorites. And then
Yeah.
also my wife got it for me. So yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know if I think it was mentioned my concept of memory watches. So there's
Yes.
watches that you'll never sell, and I've got a 40-year-old Seiko that looks like a Royal Oak. My uncle
Okay.
gave that
Yeah.
to me when I got
Hmm.
out of college. It was one of those things. Hey, I need a watch. So I lost a watch or broke a watch or whatever, and
Okay.
he said, "Oh, you're out of college. You can have this good one, Seiko."
Hey.
It's a memory watch. I'll never, I wear it once in a while, and I'll never get rid of it.
Yeah.
I have a Tissot that it's an interesting. It's a Tissot. It's got a moon face on it. It's got a
Yeah.
date. It's a dress watch. My wife got it for me when we first got married. Bought
Yeah.
it from my uncle, and it just doesn't work quite well. The moon face doesn't work anymore, and the
Yeah.
date changes at 4 a.m. It doesn't change at 12 anymore. It changes at 4. I don't know and it's a quartz
I
watch. I don't know what's wrong with it,
I
but I'll never get rid of it.
it's funny you mentioned that. I have a Vostok Amphibia that I bought at the beginning of this year because I took the dive into the Russian
Mm-hmm.
watches, which are really cool watches. Obviously, with current
Mm-hmm.
events, it's kind of like I feel like some people are like, oh, you shouldn't, should you buy Russian watches? Should you not? And it's like I didn't buy it directly from Russia. I think I
Mm-hmm.
bought it, some seller in Delaware or whatever, whatever. I wanted to have one because it's a cult classic, like in the community,
Yep.
especially
Oh
if you're
yeah.
in the know about Vostok. They make some really cool, weird watches. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because I've had a lot of weird things go wrong with that watch. It still works, but now
Mm-hmm.
the actual time when the date changes over changes every time the watch stops. So when the watch stops and then I go to you know, change the date over, it could be 7 a.m. Then the watch runs for a few days and then stops, and then I go to pick it up and see when does the date change. Now it changes at 10 p.m. It's like the weirdest
Interesting.
thing ever.
How old's the watch?
I just got it from I just got it at the beginning of the year, but I mean
Oh,
those
is it new?
watches, yeah, well I got it new, but they're using the same movements from like I think like 30 years ago still in the
Oh
watches or
wow.
something like that. It's
Well,
basically like a new
I'm
vintage
just wondering
watch.
if it's. I'm just wondering if it needs oil. Sometimes a
I have no
watch,
idea.
if it just needs a service, but if it's fairly new, then yeah, then just a quirk of the movement.
It's one of those watches where at one point it stopped too, and then I was like, oh shoot, man, I've had it for like 6 months. Now it won't start up. And then I went on Watch Crunch, if you're familiar with Watch Crunch, which
Yep.
is I'm active on there. I love that community there too. And I like made a post. It was like, hey guys, like, RIP to the Amphibia. I don't know what happened to it. I only had it for a few months. Now I know why people are kind of like, oh, Voss stocks aren't great or anything. And then people brought to my attention the smack, the Vostok smack or whatever they call it, where basically you just take the watch, you smack it against your hand, and it runs again. And that's all you have to do.
See, yeah. See, any other watch, someone would say you need a service. It needs to be lubricated, but
Right.
probably not. But that smack, it must be a quirk in the movement. Something gets hung up.
I'm sure me doing that probably got it up and running, but then probably loosened something else where now the date changes like all over the place. Who knows with those watches? I have a few Vostoks because I just
Yeah.
love the weirdness of them and just the charm of the Amphibia and some of their other models. Um but yeah, no, I mean great watches, super inexpensive. I have them in there also just as just kind of like like
Well, so
those quirky pieces.
I've seen them. I knew of them. Now it's today's research.
They're an experience. The first time I got the Amphibia, so the Amphibia is designed where the crown is not actually connected to the stem. It's attached to the stem with just like there's a thing where basically you have to pull on the crown and it kind of locks onto something in order to turn the hands. but when you unscrew it, it just kind of wobbles around because it's kind of like attached to the stem and some I don't know exactly
Interesting.
how. But the reason they do that is because if you were to drop the watch and it lands on the crown, it doesn't send shock to the movement.
Yeah.
So they separate it. So it's just like this weird thing where you just have to pull on it slightly in order to actually engage the movement
Hmm.
of the crown. And I just think stuff like that is just so ingenious to me, and it's such a simple solution.
Hmm.
But I thought it was broken when I got it. Like
Yeah.
immediately. I thought it was like, oh my God, great. This is what I get for ordering a Vostok. This is
Yeah.
like I should have known that it was gonna fall apart in my hand almost immediately. But no, that's just how it is. It's just so such bizarre watches. Um, but I want to make sure I get to Wolf Watch Club, of course, right?
Hmm. Oh,
So
absolutely.
we had talked about previously, before the episode started, you had discovered it through Time Teller. Tell me
Hmm.
about when you initially found out about it through Jory, and were you skeptical? Were you? I mean,
Oh.
Obviously, Jory has such a great reputation that
Hmm.
you know, initially even I was just kind of like, oh, okay, interesting. I don't usually see him kind of promoting something like this, but if he's promoting it, there must be some truth to it. So like, can you kind of tell me what your initial thoughts were?
Yeah, so my initial thoughts was skeptical. I'm like, okay, wait, how much are these tickets going to cost? Is it a real deal? But then so I don't think I was in the first one, maybe uh, two drawings. But then I was like, okay, let me take a shot at this. Uh, I'm forgetting which one it was, but it wasn't a Rolex. So yeah, so I got in and I said, okay, yeah, when there's a good watch here. So if it wasn't a Rolex draw, I was in it. I'm not in the Breitling one yet. Probably get in it. Is the Breitling one Sunday? Um,
Yeah.
and then like the left hand GMT. I'm like, okay, it's got a Cyclops. Love the Sprite look. Left hand, not for me. So I won't be in that one. But I got to be selective because otherwise I'll spend as much money as buying another watch.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
seriously.
but yeah, so you can't do all of them. I like the fact that they've got two of them running now,
Hmm.
and so hey, Mark, listen here. As long as one of them's not a Rolex, I think it's good to vary it up. But I
Yeah.
know the community is going to like the Rolex. They'll probably do better with that. But yeah, no, I was skeptical at first, but then saw it. I remember the first one I got into. I didn't realize the receipt number is the ticket number. So I went back and
Yes.
forth. I
Hmm.
went back and forth with Mark. So that's a good thing to put out there to let people know. Hey, your ticket number. The receipt number is the ticket number, so you can track it. And
Yeah.
yeah, no, I was skeptical at first, but it's a nice way to go. Um, I got to be honest. I don't understand the people who are buying, like 25% of the tickets or 10% of the tickets. For me, I'm like, risk reward to me. I'm thinking, you do that four times and lose, and then you could have bought a watch. But but I think for
Hey.
folks who I think it's a great thing to build the community. I think it's a great way to get a chance at a good watch.
Yeah.
I might even take a chance at a Rolex that I know a friend wants,
Okay.
and then maybe do a friendly flip. Not a, I wouldn't do it to flip online, but
Yeah, just
but
like a
but
swap or something.
yeah, do a swap with other collectors and say,
Yeah.
hey, I got this. You have that one that I've been looking at, and and maybe use it for or maybe my son's a collector, so
Yeah.
he doesn't mind the Cyclops. So I'll get into the Rolex.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, no, I was skeptical at a time. And I think
Yeah.
everybody's got to decide the risk reward. But one, two, three tickets, five tickets for some of these watches would be great.
Yeah.
I'll jump into the Breitling as it gets closer. I'm thinking the people are buying it, are buying it later seem to have done better. So that's
Right.
that's the that's the um, that's the emotion that you get into any type of contest. So
Yep.
like I mentioned earlier with the lotto, people
Yeah, no,
jumping in at the last minute.
I usually
I'll be
play.
doing that.
I usually play when it's like really,
Hmm.
really high because, it's like that psychological thing where it's like, okay,
FOMO,
it's
fear of
300
missing
million
out.
dollars.
Yep.
Okay, $300 million. Well, the chances of someone wins it anytime soon anyway, it's kind of low. So I'll wait till it's like, 800 million, 900 million. Oh, it's a billion?
Yep.
Ah, man, I'm gonna buy freaking
Oh
six
yeah.
tickets right now, you know?
Yeah, when I think of it, this last $1 billion draw, I would have been better off in with spending that money in the Wolf Watch Club drawing.
Yeah,
But
seriously.
yeah,
Oh my God.
it's the fear of missing out. So yeah, so I'm hoping that they get some watches that are not so mainstream, but that are watch
Okay.
collector watches, like maybe a Panerai, maybe a JLC. So if so I'll dump a lot of money if it's a JLC Polaris Geographic. Hint, hint.
Oh my God. I mean, just the odds of being able to track one of those down, right? Because you said it was only like a 7 year period that they made them, right?
No, no, no. That's the geophysic that I have.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. You're
Yeah,
talking
no,
about
don't want
oh,
anybody to
the
have that. Don't want
I was like,
anybody to have
what?
that watch. I want that to be unique in my collection. No, no, Polaris. It's only been out a year. The Polaris
Yeah,
Geographic. It's a
got it.
GMT, but it's a kind of a unique GMT because you keep the big hands on your
Hmm.
time.
Yeah,
Then there's this little round thing in the middle, and the Vacheron GMT is the same. There's a little one down there, and then it has the time zone name at the bottom.
nice.
So it's not quite a world timer because you don't see all of the names. It just pops up there in the bottom, but it's
Yeah.
a
Okay.
kind of cross
Oh,
between the world timer and a GMT.
okay.
But yeah, nice
Interesting.
watch. But
Okay. All
yeah,
right.
no, I was skeptical at the beginning.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but if it draws more people in and more people get on onto the community,
Yeah.
last couple of weeks I've been a little busy with work, so I haven't gotten on there. So I've got to go look at the forums,
Hmm.
maybe post a wrist shot or two, and
Yeah.
yeah. So anything else in the yeah, but yeah. So Wolf Watch Club. What else? I like the fact they did a feature. Well, this is my second feature on there, so that's kind of nice to be kind of a charter member here. Not a charter member; they don't have that, but be early into the Wolf Watch Club.
Yeah.
So I think it's nice. But yeah, I got to get out there this weekend and talk about my new watch and see what other people are talking about. But yeah, it's like that. I like to try to keep up. The other night, I was like, my wife was like, "Hey, you want to watch a movie?" I'm like, "No, you know what?
Yeah.
I got to catch up on all my favorite YouTubers
Yeah.
because I had gotten behind." But yeah, and Jody's. I think I have one of Jody's that I have to watch. So from this week, I got to get out there and watch. But
It's tough because, when we're subscribed to all these people on YouTube,
mhm.
it's just like, I mean, most of them upload pretty much every single day. And then if you
Yeah.
follow like, 10, 20 people already after a few days, if you haven't seen all those videos, you're like, oh
Yeah,
shoot.
so I've gotten to the point where it's like, okay, I don't have to watch all of
Right,
them.
exactly.
If it's a watch I know about, I won't watch it. But there's a few people, the Watch Gringa, this watch, that watch, Jody's site,
Yeah,
1916 Company,
yeah,
and Adrian Barker. I think those are the ones I really like to watch.
yeah,
Um, so
yeah.
yeah, so I get into those, and yeah, those I have to watch. But some of the others, Teddy Baldazar, he's just
Of
fantastic.
course.
You know, Teddy's got
Yeah,
one I just saw that he posted this week on a Zinn watch, and Zinn is another brand that I don't own any, but they
yeah,
have some great divers. So those will be now that my collection. I have a great collection. I don't have to buy anything, but I still watch everything, and then always now I'm looking for a deal for myself or my son, or
yeah,
maybe something my wife or daughter. So now I'm going to get into um, looking at some watches because the unisex and watches are always there, but the ladies' watches, because my wife and my
yeah,
daughter-in-law, they like the watches that are smaller, and my
yeah,
daughter. So now it's like, well, I never looked at those, but
yeah.
So now I'll probably start diving into that area to see what's out there.
Yeah, I think also, and I could be totally wrong, but I think I remember seeing recently something about it had something to do with like the Oscars or something like that, whatever it was.
Mhm.
and it was and I forget which website I saw on it, but basically it was a piece on how a lot of like male celebrities are now like the trend is wearing like those smaller sizes,
Oh,
like
the smaller size watches.
even
Yeah.
sometimes like women's style watches, because some of
Hmm.
them I guess look so great just as a unisex model that it's just kind of like I think Jeff Goldblum has like a really crazy looking watch that's like purple and it's got like diamonds and stuff like that. I guess it was
Oh
it's
yeah,
like it's,
because you wear it more like jewelry.
yeah.
Yeah, there was somebody this I can't remember, but there's somebody that had two watches on, two small watches, and it was just because yeah
Yeah.
they must have
Yeah.
been I think they were PJ watches, and they had two of them. I
The
think one in silver, one in gold, but they were small.
yeah.
But it was not so much for telling time, but just to have it,
Just yeah.
instead of a regular bracelet, the watch is more interesting. So I don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
Um, Britt Pierce, the watch bringer, she has a
Yeah.
great thing, and I have that at the top of my documentation for my collection. Art, history, fashion, and engineering. That's what watches are. So it brings all those together. And that's
Exactly.
and that's something I've always been an engineer at heart, so
Yeah.
I've always liked architecture. So architecture is another thing I'm very much into. I
Yeah.
like architecture because and I know the engineering behind it. So when I was younger, I wanted to be an architect, but I have
Okay.
no artistic ability. To be an architect, you need to have a sense of space and art and how things
Mm-hmm.
go together. And I
Yeah.
know it when I see it and appreciate it, but I can't put it together.
Yeah.
But so I started out as an engineer. My father was a mechanical engineer. My son's a mechanical engineer. So I used to go to work with my dad in high school and college, and I started knowing the engineering. So I know how to build windows, doors, and what they call architectural metals because I learned that trade from my dad, and I could do the engineering of it. But you need the architect to come and say, no, it's got to be this color or this
Yeah.
size and all that. And I never had that, so I could never be an architect, but I can appreciate what they do.
Right.
So architecture is another thing. Now, if I was a billionaire, I'd be buying homes and buildings and appreciating the architecture. For
It's
now, I have to buy used cars and used watches. So,
so so this is going to be sort of like an oddball question, but if you like architecture, I also enjoy architecture, and one of my favorite collaborations with so Bulova has their Frank Lloyd Wright series. Have you ever seen those watches where they're partnered with the Frank Lloyd Wright Foundation, and a lot of their watches are inspired by his like homes and buildings that he's designed, and they have like a
no,
lot of really
so
cool Art
I,
Deco, like new modern age like designs on their watches. They're not like um most of them aren't like automatic. They're usually quartz
mhm.
watches, but some of their designs are like they really stand out and pop, and people will probably be like, "What the heck is on your wrist?" And then you can tell them, "Oh, it's a Bulova that's
I've
inspired
got
by
to
Frank
look.
Lloyd
So
Wright."
I love Bulova. I've always appreciated Bulova. So my uncle, the watchmaker, so
Hmm.
Bulova in the 60s, 70s, and 80s,
Yeah.
he had a lot of Bulovas. So,
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of those watches. My wife's got a watch, is just a little Bulova, a
Hmm.
little pink dialed Bulova, with rhinestones as the indices. But it's $100 watch. So, she
Yeah.
cleaning, taking the dog out. We don't care what happens to that watch. It'll probably last longer than all the others.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I got to look it up. I appreciate you telling me about that because I would love to understand that. But yeah, Boulevard, they're owned by Citizen. So,
Yeah.
so you're near New York. So if you ever go to the Citizen store right on Fifth Ave,
I've been meaning to go.
Boulevard, all the Citizens, Frederic Constant, and Alpina, all in the same shop. And so
Hmm.
you can see all of them. And yeah, Frederic
Yeah.
Constant, that's a great brand as well. That'll probably be the
Yeah.
perpetual calendar I own used because it's the only one that's almost affordable, but definitely in used it'll be affordable. It's a less than $10,000. And they make some nice watches. They just with Geneva Watch World, they came out with a very nice watch that's got like a two-step dial.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
there's an inner dial and the outer dial. I saw that this week, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to, next time I'm in New York, hopefully they'll, got to wait a month or two before they'll get it in that shop.
Right. Exactly.
It's not like the boutique, like Fred, like Vacheron. I'm sure all the boutiques have that new red dot burgundy dial watch the day
Yeah.
it launched. But Citizen Boulevard, Frederick Constant, they're not going to have that. So you wait 2 months and it'll be in the boutique. But can't wait to
Yeah.
see that one.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly. Yeah. And so we talked a bit about Wolf Watch Club. Is there any recommendations? And I know we touched upon some of them, but is there
mhm.
any other like recommendations or feedback or things that Mark and the rest of the team should consider to improve the user experience? Any other content that we should be thinking of making?
Well, I
Anything.
mentioned the DIY content and
Yep.
the watch repair content because if you've
Right.
got enthusiasts that have collections that are, oh, I'm going to lose my I'm going to lose my earphones. I just heard them. Anyway, yeah. So do it yourself.
Yeah.
Watch repair, and watch maintenance. Just some of those little things that we're if enthusiasts like me, we're always digging around the internet for that kind of stuff. So maybe some links and things like that on the website and in the forums
Okay.
there. That would be my suggestion. Variety in the draws. If you want to have a Rolex draw, once a month and just have that Rolex draw like doing the Sprite. I think that's a smart thing because
Okay.
Rolex is very popular. It'll bring a lot of people in, but then do that other watch, the
Hmm.
Breitling. Go for the mid level, mid tier IWC, JLC once in a
Okay.
while there,
Yeah.
and then even some things like if he wants to do Citizen Seiko,
Hmm.
he could do that could, maybe that works, brings people in.
Yeah.
Couple of things like because Seiko and Citizen make some interesting ones like Seiko Alpina, right?
Yes.
Not the
The
Grand
Alpinist.
Seiko, but
Yeah.
the King Seiko. The Alpinist. Yeah, not yeah. I'm sorry. Alpina Citizen. Alpinist is Seiko. Uh, there's too much to keep track of. But
Yeah.
yeah, maybe throw some of those in there. That might bring
Okay.
some people in. But yeah. But otherwise, yeah, no, I like the community. I like what they're doing with like you're doing with me here. Just talk to more enthusiasts and not just the winners, but other enthusiasts that they see on the out there
Yeah.
that are joining the channel, joining the club. Yep.
Yeah. Well, look, I appreciate the time that you took today to speak with me because this conversation has been awesome. I mean, I think we learned a ton about you. We covered a lot. We covered pretty much brands from e- everything like entry level all the way up to high horology. We covered a bunch of different things like architecture, watch repair, making, and we even talked about the whole buying watches from Japan and everything. So I
Mm-hmm.
really appreciate just having this conversation because again, this is what we're focusing on. As we get more people and I have more interviews scheduled in the coming weeks, we're gonna now start to see even more about what makes people tick, no pun intended, but literally like
Mm-hmm.
what's the motivation behind collectors? What are their stories? Who are the people in their lives that have influenced their journey, things like that. So this has been an amazing conversation. Again, really appreciate you took the time to sit down with me, and I hope that everyone who's watching it enjoyed this conversation. Again, we're going to be putting out more content like this, whether it's a winner, community member, any other formats that we're planning on doing as well. Um, and is there any other like parting words or things that you wanna let us know before we
No,
wrap up here?
I appreciate you reaching out to me because I love talking
Yeah,
about watches. I have some friends that we talk about watches, but not nearly enough. So
yeah.
getting the community actually being able to speak with people and all that. Oh, send me a link on that watch day, that watch. What did you call it? The watch days that are happening in October. that you went to
Yes,
last year. Because
because honestly, if
semi-retired, I should be able to make it. I'd love to get down there.
yeah, look, I mean, hey, if yeah, I'll send you the info. Because you know I'm gonna be there. If you make the trip, let's meet up. You know,
Oh, I'll
talk
let you know. Yeah,
watches.
absolutely.
Because again, this is exactly this is the whole point why we're doing this because we want to connect people from wherever they are to just talk watches and get to see have these conversations, see people in person, right? That's the whole point of building this community. Um, so Robert, thank you. Everyone in the audience, if you liked the video, again, please like, share, comment, subscribe. We have more content coming. So, all right, guys, stay tuned for the next video. We'll see you soon and stay safe.
Thanks.